But earlier this week, this scandal took a very unexpected but dark and dangerous turn. The Rio City police executed a major operation where they apprehended and arrested 5 of the top members of Rio de Janeiro's most dangerous militia. Here in Rio de Janeiro and in Brazil, militias are part paramilitary forces and part mafia-like organized crime rings composed almost entirely of not just former police officers and military members, but current ones as well. They are highly dangerous and violent. They follow mafia-like patterns, but also engage in murder for hire. And what made this police operation so significant, apprehending 5 of the top members of this militia, is that this is the militia that houses within it something called the Committee, a very chilling murder unit that is known for executing the most professional murders and hits of anybody in Brazil. And because it's done by longtime police officers and members of the military, they know how to do it so that no traces are left of who the killers were. And it is this committee which was responsible for one of the most notorious acts of violence of the last decade. As you probably remember, last March in 2018, City Councilwoman Marielle Franco, the black LGBT anti-police abuse woman from the favelas who was elected with a huge vote total to the Rio City Council, was brutally assassinated, gunned down in the streets of Rio de Janeiro at 7:30 at night along with her driver. And it's long been known that although the killers have not been apprehended, it's this committee within this militia that was responsible. And what makes this operation so extraordinary and has shocked the country is that they have the top 5 members of this militia and have discovered who the chief of this militia is, a former police officer and member of the elite police unit. And the mother and daughter of the chief of this militia, it has been discovered, has been working in Flavio Bolsonaro's cabinet for the last 10 years on his payroll. The key family members of the head of the most dangerous militia in Brazil, known to have murdered Marielle Franco, has been working, or at least on the payroll of Flavio Bolsonaro's cabinet for the last 10 years. Beyond that, Flavio Bolsonaro himself not only officially praised the 2 top members of this militia, he awarded one of the most prestigious awards of service to the head of this militia. He condemned an investigative body that sent large numbers of militia members to prison as stigmatizing the police and then the military. And then when the very brave judge who was overseeing this investigation and sending militia members to prison was murdered, Flavio Bolsonaro said of her, "We of course lament her death, but she went around provoking the police and the military, and this is the sort of thing that happens when you do that." So we not only now have a scandal that involves the kind of corruption Brazil has long seen, where public salaries are kicked back to the official who hires all of these people. And we not only see what looks very much like classic money laundering and evasion of all kinds of banking regulations in the form of extremely suspicious cash deposits, including into the account of President Bolsonaro's own wife, we now have extraordinarily close links between President Bolsonaro's son, just elected to the federal Senate, and the most criminal and dangerous and terrifying militia in all of Brazil, clearly linked to the assassination of City Councilwoman Marielle Franco, as well as countless other people for all sorts of different reasons. And then what finally makes this scandal so remarkable is that the Justice Minister of President Bolsonaro's new government, Sergio Moro, rose to international fame as a warrior against corruption.
Sergio Moro is the disruptor of the Brazilian judicial system. He's the man who's ended 5 centuries of impunity in Brazil, Latin America's largest country.
He was the one who put Lula in prison in 2018 at a time when all polls showed that Lula would likely win the presidency, a conviction that was affirmed by an appellate court, causing Lula to be removed from the race, which resulted in Bolsonaro's victory. Bolsonaro, after winning, turned around and made him not just the justice minister, this previously obscure judge, but a super justice minister with extreme amounts of power, heralded around the world for his fight against corruption. And up until now, Sergio Moro has not said a word about any of these extraordinarily suspicious transactions, what looks like clear corruption, and what is clearly very suspicious links between the Bolsonaro family on the one hand and the most violent and criminal militias on the other. In fact, just today in Davos, where Sergio Moro is with President Bolsonaro and his other top ministers, they canceled a press conference out of fear that they would be incapable of answering questions about any of this. So you have a president who rode into office pledging to cleanse the country of the corruption that has long plagued it, who now finds himself, along with his own children and his wife, at the middle of a scandal that involves not just large amounts of suspicious money, but murder, assassination, and organized criminality as well. And that's why this scandal is so paralyzing and so engulfing of the Bolsonaro presidency.